Do you miss DVD commentary tracks? Well, fear not, because Yvonne Fry, the most scorned critic on all of YouTube, I'm here to give you commentary tracks for the movies we love and sometimes those we love to hate. Tonight, got one that is a bitter pill to swallow. Resident Evil from 2002, starring Milla Jovovich, and written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. But before we get into it, I want to give a quick mention to my buddies over at CALDERALab.com, makers of The Good, the only facial serum that fights the T virus. And you can use my promo code FRY15 to save 15% at checkout. Figured I'd do a commentary track for this film because I've been playing the Resident Evil games on Twitch. I should be caught up on the lore, right? Okay, guys, get comfy. We are about ready to start watching Resident Evil. I've got with me an IBC root beer. Let's open that for that ASMR. Oh yeah, we love the way that sounds. And I have listened to the criticism, and I am eschewing the popcorn for this commentary. Hey, I like the commentary. It's nice, insightful, it's funny, but I don't like all the chewing. Okay, I have just like, honestly, 2 pecans and a Reese's Pieces left from a stream I just did. Getting ready to watch on Netflix 2002's Resident Evil. Cue up to 0000 and hit play now. There's a lot to be said for this film. This is a movie I did not catch in theaters, but boy did I rent it out when I worked in a video store. You're going to see a lot of early 2000s filmmaking here. The fonts, the aggressive music, much of it inspired by The Matrix. There's a lot of look what we can do with the computer effects happening in here. So we're actually going to explain things up front. I am not going to do a commentary track for each film in this series. In fact, this will probably be the only one. So I will touch on issues I have with the series throughout. Viral weaponry. Never quite clear what Resident Evil actually means, but it's a different font than you get in any of the games. There are things to commend about this. The first film is potentially the most competent of the group, and I wouldn't even call it good. It's somewhat stylish, though derivative of something like Blade in The Matrix, of course. And I think that this is also the first video game-based movie to feature the boobies. From the star, nonetheless, Milla Jovovich. Yes, I am the only YouTuber who can correctly pronounce her name. Oh, let's see. We're operating over here with the mechanical arms. We got this. Must be some dangerous stuff over here if we have to have a super cool case for it, right? You can't try to make sense of the plot of this, in part because Paul W.S. Anderson, who directs all but one installment, wrote all of them. And yeah, he did direct all but one, right? Didn't he direct 2 also? He didn't direct the 3rd one that took place in Las Vegas or roundabouts. All right, so I'm going to let this loose, shut the door. It's going to get into the system here. Oh no, it's in the HVAC. Movies from around this time period universally have a nice look about them, don't they? Even the lesser movies kind of look better than stuff that's highly regarded now. It's part of actually shooting on film. Having to have some attention to detail somewhere in the pipeline. Even if it's just the guy behind the camera or a DP. We'll be seeing more of these dogs later. Looks like we have sacrificed a white rabbit on the table. There is a through line with Alice in Wonderland with this particular installment. We have a red queen. Someone needs to be beheaded, I think. We have that white rabbit that was being dissected on the table. Our lead's name is Alice. I think the most commendable thing this movie does, and I know a lot of people will say otherwise, not using the game characters. If you stay away from the game protagonists, you actually have a sense of danger. Whereas you start throwing in the game protagonists, you kind of know that they're unkillable. Oh, there's no way they're going to kill Chris or Leon, Claire, Jill. They killed Barry, but the way anybody dies in this, they kind of come back too. In dumb ways. Oh, that was actually a clone of me. I'm the real clone or some shit. I'll be spoiling the series for you if I'm not busy poking fun at what I'm seeing here. Look at how skinny women were back then. Jeez. Guys, too. Like, this is kind of like a normal look over here. Welcome to 2002. America still looked pretty good. Okay, so weird freeze frame right there. Trying to show us that super tough glass. You almost have a better concept for a movie early on before we even meet Alice. If it's just regular folk trapped in this killer laboratory, okay? The laboratory's trying to kill them. It's not really set up that way in the early games that the laboratory's working to kill you, and so that seemed dumb. The laboratory is controlled by this AI, the Red Queen, and it's actively working against these people to contain the virus outbreak. You get a suspenseful shot here where, oh, we want to get off the elevator, right? And then off with their heads. I don't see a plus-size woman anywhere. Where are the fat guys? You can see like that Queen logo there on the cam. Girl yelling stop, it looks kind of familiar. Maybe she's in something else I've seen. Well, maybe some of that gas is still out there. You don't want to breathe that. Now, you know nothing good can come of anybody here, right? Because we haven't even met them. We don't know their names. But they're giving decent performances. Red Queen's like, here's an opportunity. Look, I know movie magic, whatever, okay? This is still not the kind of situation one wants to be in. It also feels weird that the Red Queen plays with people. Like, look at this. Oh, you didn't drop them all the way? Not yet. Boom. This still has a very film-like look about it, really. Look at the transfer. You still see some of the artifacts. It's not like, oh, all cleaned up for 4K. Here's our introduction to Alice, Milla Jovovich, looking quite a bit different than she does later in the films. Not that she's aged horribly, but she does look different. Keeps herself in shape, actually does all of her own stunts for this film, save one jump in the sewer. And we'll look at that and try to sort out why that is when we get there. Let's start naked and conveniently no memory. Yeah. And that's really her character. Trying to figure out what her whole thing is. Hell, her hair radically changes without her ever really addressing it. This is the most strawberry blonde she looks in the whole series. Not a game character. I don't think in any of the games. Let's see, I was taking a shower and then I fell and do I even remember my name? Like, what's going on here? Oh, I'll kind of cover my boob, but here's my nipple. There you go. Make sure you get a good look at that. And I think it's quite obvious that Paul W.S. Anderson really grew quite fond of her, getting married and then putting her in everything he touches. You know, being these, or well, not Alien versus Predator, but what did he do lately? Monster Hunter. I think it flopped. Might be the end of his career right there. Might be the last we see of Milla Jovovich in a starring role. But, well, maybe now Mario and Sonic, this is no longer the highest grossing video game movie series. Maybe Mario beats that with one movie. I'm not certain. Some of these make deceptively good figures. The first film made $100 million on like a $30 million budget. And you don't even get $30 million budget films in theaters, wide release anymore. I was just looking for a bra and I found all these guns. So she's Alice in Wonderland, doesn't know what's going on. There isn't anything great to come out of this Alice in Wonderland motif. She's dressed like Ada Wong, if you think about it here. Like, she's got the red dress, the black boots. Actually, does Ada have high heels? Black shoes, anyways. Oh, there's a picture of me with this guy. We must be a thing. I don't remember him. But if you were looking sharp, it's the guy who let the virus out. Only he doesn't know that because whatever the Red Queen did, it wiped memories for those that didn't die yet. She's currently in the mansion section. I suppose this is the Spencer Mansion. Just outside Raccoon City. Is it the Arclay Mountains? Obviously, it looks a bit different than in the games. And we don't really get anything that feels like any Resident Evil game up to this point. Not weird mansion chaos or solving the puzzle. It's more about going to underground lab. At this point, we've had, 4 games come out, if we want to include Code Veronica in the mainline series, to draw inspiration. We'll see some of the creatures, yes. Is this scary, or is it trying too hard to be scary? Oh, you got to watch out for that wind, huh? Because you don't have a jacket on. There's a flashbang puck. Okay, so they're dressed kind of like the response team from Umbrella, right? Like Hunk in Resident Evil 2. So there's flashes of things that seem to have something to do with the game, at least in design. but it takes a lot of liberties. In a way, that's good. Like I said, you don't have game characters in here, so anybody's expendable. Anything could happen. What? I'm a soldier? And was that Colin Salmon saying, I want your report, soldier? We'll see in a sec. I've probably seen this movie 3 or 4 times. It is so hard to keep track of what happened in each given installment. After a while, they really bleed together, much like Friday the 13th. I think it's Michelle Rodriguez right there. Yep. Michelle Rodriguez, already known for Girl Fight. I think Blue Crush may have been out by now. Obviously, The Fast and the Furious. And I think she got involved in this because she said to her agent, if they're ever making a Resident Evil film, I want in. They didn't really have a part for her. I think she probably wanted a better role. I mean, you could say she's sort of like the Vasquez here. She's not really critical to the plot, but she gets pretty far in the film. Almost all the way through the end, really. So she's along for the ride. We've got the train looking like the train. I don't think that you want to really be involved in a movie that is the director's audition for another franchise. Now, though he comes back to this, aren't you under the impression that Paul W. Sanderson was making this to be like, hey, shouldn't I be making Alien films? And then he gets Alien vs. Predator. And, that's a wreck. Though Michelle Rodriguez doesn't make it through this film, she comes back for the, I'm losing count here, 5th film, maybe? I think it's the only other one available on Netflix right now. Is it Retribution? I think that's the name of it. Oh, gosh. And then it's Final Chapter after that. See, the trouble is, the first one that did the 3D, I think that was Afterlife. I thought that was actually, okay, it's stupid, right? But it actually had pretty good 3D, and people don't realize that because they didn't see it in theaters. But the 3D effects were at times, really, honestly, better than Avatar's. It was the second movie to use the Avatar cameras right after Avatar was done with them. So it was actually shot in 3D for 3D, whereas at the time, the trend was post-conversion 3D. Which I still think is largely the case now for 3D films is in post, but people forgot to complain about it. It's a cool looking train. Is it crazy practical? No. Does it look a little tiny? Yes. Can we not get her a jacket? Like, it's got to be a little cold here, Milla. Gosh, I know. I'm not saying Michelle Rodriguez looks terrible now, but it's amazing how different she looks. It's the culprit. Wait, is that my husband? I kind of don't mind that the flashback montage here. It looks like Thoughts, doesn't it? And only mid 90s through the early 2000s do you get a look like that in a film. Flashbacks done now with the modern digital editing software, nonlinear editors, they just look like trash. He's got this guy, Purefoy, right? He's got to put on a American accent, so. You may know him from is it Altered Carbon? Altered Carbon? I think it's Altered Carbon. I reviewed the first season, hated it. A Netflix original. May or may not be there anymore the way things are going. We haven't seen anything stupid enough to really make you moan, but like, okay, in that one I was talking about with the 3D, everybody wants to make fun of it because Rich Evans couldn't stop laughing over on Red Letter Media. And you can find the clip. It's like 5 minutes of him just dying laughing as everybody's trying to fight Wesker, and they think it looks cool, but it doesn't. When I saw that in theaters, I was not laughing. I was rolling my eyes and my head side to side, shaking no, just in disbelief. Confusion, frustration, disappointment, all of the things, right? All right, he's laying it down here. Everybody works for Umbrella because they're the biggest company. It's in the second film we will introduce Jill, who looks really damn good, but really only in the second film. Then the third, we get Claire Redfield. Fourth, we get Claire back along with Chris Redfield, I believe. Does Leon get in there? I don't think Leon gets in there. The next film, we get Ada. Actually, we get Jill back at the end, but she's blonde. But the next one, we get Ada, Barry, Leon. And then I think we just kind of forget about a lot of people. Like, we're showing you the concept of the hive. The laboratories were not nearly this intricate in the games until taking inspiration from the movie and the CGI films. They have a long-running CGI film thing going. The latest, I believe, being Dead Island, came out last year. Now, why didn't the nerve gas kill them like it killed everybody else? Well, how about... Oh, it's going to be a lot longer than that. She has memory loss like for the duration of the series, over a decade. Last one's what, 2015 maybe? At $30 million, the money went to a lot of good places. Now, one thing about Anderson is he will employ a lot of folks. Alien vs. Predator may have the longest credits ever. It's insane. It's like 12 minutes. Before that, his Mortal Kombat, which is among the best video game-based movies, and for a long time, I think was the clear front runner there. Yeah, this could have a massive credits as well. I'm thinking 8 minutes plus. He puts people to work. And I don't think the people that work on his movies have anything particularly bad to say. And he knows that his stuff isn't high art. He's not talking it up. He's not being Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino turns his schlock into art by telling you it's art. If people are going to be staying, working, living underground like this, you got to make them think they're outside on occasion, right? Show them a little bit of skyline. Know where you've passed by any kind of coat check where maybe we can get Milla something? Now we are getting Colin Salmon here, kind of getting the short end of the stick. A little bit of a waste up for him, but he returns later in the series to, I think, alongside Michelle Rodriguez in that one, to kind of be like different versions of the same kind of setup. It gets convoluted and dumb, and it's not worth trying to explain because each movie, despite being written by the same guy, allegedly, retcons the movie that came before it. So I'll try to interpret the final outcome here as we see some of these pieces come into play. Yeah, good idea. Give her a coat. What? We're touching? We were in bed. You can... Wait, I was in bed with this guy? And yeah, look carefully. You can see her nipples again. Really has 3 nude scenes in this film. They're kind of blink and you miss it, but... And I don't know how much of her clone she's portraying at the end of 2, but kind of naked at that point also. Alice is sort of the Mary Sue of which all Mary Sues can be traced back to. Just totally flawless. Won't let anybody else do anything cool. Hell, it looked like Jill could do something cool in Apocalypse, right? Resident Evil Apocalypse, that's the second one. But then she has to show up and actually do something cooler to kill the enemy, right? Oh, she knows something that he doesn't, and that's that they're an item, but that might be a falsified story. So that's what happened in the room where they couldn't get out with the axe. Oh, did you get a jump scare there? I think this film is easily the most approachable of the whole franchise because it's simple. This is before the series got too overly complicated with what it was trying to deliver. Yeah, one of those, I think it's Retribution. They actually rip off Aliens so hard. We'll come across a liquor in this film, and it'll look like... I think it's CGI, but it looks like claymation. And I'm not saying that in a good or bad way. Maybe it was intended to look jerky, and not as smooth as CGI. But the liquor will snatch a little girl who's about the size of Newt, and, instead of killing her, it runs off and wants to cocoon her so that Alice can gear up and go after them just like Ripley, and it's a bunch of garbage. Here's a good idea. Split up. It definitely got cold, man. She's in full zipper. I don't understand how these movies kept making money, and some of it, I'm telling you, it's really quite shocking, like over 300 million. But no one seems to like them. And then you'll go and you'll run across people who like Resident Evil. It's almost exclusively the games, right? But because they like Resident Evil, they will invariably like this. in part, it hasn't been Disney-fied, right? Disney hasn't come and put its spin on it to inject some politic angle to make you hate it. But it has routinely incompetent behavior occurring in these films. It just, people doing dumb stuff repeatedly. Now, I say it's going to be all dumb and everything, but we haven't really seen a lot of it yet. Everybody's just confused. We're all on about the same page at this point. All right, I forgot what this team is doing, but maybe they were supposed to secure a sample and leave. Alice's Jedi-like abilities grow or turn on and off with each film. She gets cloned, and then they get rid of the clones, so they do nothing with that. They, like at the beginning of the next movie, we get rid of the clones. You have all these amazing powers. We got rid of the powers. Okay, now you got your powers back. We're about to see what is possibly the most infamous portion of the film. This scene will find its way into the games with Leon having to dodge lasers. Now in Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 Remake will put Ada in that situation. But they make it fairly easy, and it's not nearly sadistic. Okay, look, for security purposes, do you need all these lasers, right? Do you need the hallway this size, right? Do you make the lasers avoidable and then you go rotating cube on them, right? Alice just screwed them over by asking what that is. If she hadn't asked, the Red Queen wouldn't have heard the explanation and been like, oh, I have to stop them. Here we go. And this is pretty gruesome. Here come the lasers. Oh, that is not going to be an easy keyboard to use either. Very much a touch type. Off with their head. Oh man, this guy lost his fingers off camera. Head slides off. It's sort of a Wile E. Coyote thing, right? Where, oh, well now I realize my head fell off, right? Oh, it moved up. I mean, and this guy, he goes to work here, man. You're rooting for him, aren't you? Come on, Colin Salmon. And there's the rotating grid. Oh, shit. Oh, we turned it off, but too late. You don't think there'd be some fidgeting as that thing's starting to go through? You know, you'd just be petrified and stand still and come out lunch meat. Well, we just lost the leader here. What do we do? Are we saying deja vu because it's mentioned in The Matrix? Oh, come on. We can't turn the lasers on again. We just had a sequence about this. I don't... Do we see the boss or no? Because he should be arranged a certain way, the way he fell apart, right? But instead I thought I saw a lump. Uh-oh. Is that supposed to shut? Ah, yes. Before there was the iPhone, there was the wrist-mounted keyboard. Look at all of the steel servo mechanisms. Oh, yeah, super convenient. This hides out of the way. Not that we'd put anything else there. Oh, yeah, we put a foosball table up on the weekends and put it over here. That's why this has to retract in the ground. Might be a good idea to knock out some of these cameras. The Red Queen. And it looks a little jank, okay? It's a 3D model, 2002, not the best work. All right, so time to say it. It turns out Alice... Oh, yeah, that's the big catchphrase. The jerk to the side. You're all gonna die down here. That's actually the last line said. There's the pile of salmon. That's the last thing that's said in the final chapter, at the end credits, where you get to the end credits. You're all gonna die down here. The catchphrase of the series, maybe. I don't know. And catchphrase is a stretch, but Alice is actually the Red Queen. She is a clone or something. Maybe she isn't. But was she the daughter of the founder, the Red Queen? But then I think she's as an old lady, and the actual daughter, kind of evil, kind of gets like killed or sacrificed something. It's Milla Jovovich, an old lady face. But this Alice is her clone, and it all had something to do if we needed to do this because she has a terminal illness, something, whatever. Eric Mabius, right? That's his name. He was on Ugly Betty. I think he might have played the Crow at one point in the revolving door of... I think it was a straight-to-video Crow movie at that point. Where are our zombies in our zombie movie? Suffice to say, the zombies should mostly be scientists, employees, whatever they've got over here, IT guys, cafeteria workers, something like that, right? Survivor, huh? Oh, did you get bit? Oh, well, you're going to have to stab her ass. Oh, we know the long-term ramifications for that are not good. So the zombie's kind of listening, like, oh, I'll push your patience here. Oh, I'm going to shoot the legs. Yeah, I'll shoot one leg. If that doesn't work, I'll shoot the other one. Okay, sure. Bullets do not make anybody fly, by the way. Okay, so I think that bite alone will have the ramifications that bring down Michelle by the end of the film. She got careless, got a little too close, and tried to have a conversation with the infected. This is stupid, by the way. Blood doesn't do that till after you're dead. They say it was like congealed or coagulating or something. It's like, how would your blood cells know you've died or not? Oh, Michelle Rodriguez dropping the F-bomb, huh? You might actually see this movie on basic cable from time to time. Dude, that is not the best way to walk in those shoes. The zombie makeup here is not awful. Okay, we can clearly see they made some efforts there to do a digital makeup and like removing the face, parts of these faces. It's very miss on the hit or miss side of things, but as the practical makeup goes, there are worse makeups out there. I mean, I think the original Dawn of the Dead's the best of its series, but the zombie makeup is just let's put some white powder on some people. And that's really all they did. You can go overboard with zombie makeup. In the case of The Walking Dead, so many creatures, they have so much appliances on the head that it kind of ends up making everybody a giant skull. Because your skull can't be out further than your head is. But if you want to apply the skull to the outside of a person, it's going to be. And then they accentuate the cheekbones so much. So everything has to be sunken. It's ridiculous. Everything has tiny eyes and a giant noggin. I think most of us sensibly, though, would credit 28 Days Later with reviving the zombie movie genre, at least to the public. Is it possible that this movie, essentially beating 28 Days Later, at least to the American box office by a year, it being this 2002 film, can we maybe credit the zombie resurgence to 2002's Resident Evil? Not that anyone would, but if we were to go that far, could we maybe credit it to the Resident Evil game franchise? What games were you fighting zombies? Was there a Zombies Ate My Neighbors, a comedic LucasArts game on Super Nintendo, like 93? Or is it Aliens Ate My Neighbors and Zombies something? I don't think that's the answer. Maybe the Resident Evil games is the answer. Maybe the Resident Evil games brought back the zombies. It took a little while. And then we ended up oversaturated with zombies. We still have some form of the Walking Dead show happening now. I don't personally care. Yeah, we're turning on a little bit of the rock music. I like the fact that we've got guys working the practical flames. You know, you get the jelly out. It's fairly safe. You'll actually have the talent have it on. Like here we got Eric's got it. They don't bother with that anymore these days. I know firsthand. 2 weeks ago, I watched the latest Bad Boys, Ride or Die, CGI fire on the Mike Lowry's son. Talking about these codes to get through the door here. No! JD is gone. I think these are suitable zombie appearances here. Like, they haven't been zombies that long, right? And the preferred way to do the zombie is infected. You could say, well, it's not a zombie, it's infected. A zombie comes from the grave. Or do you say that's a different kind of zombie, right? It's 1985's Return of the Living Dead that gives you these zombies kind of talking, saying brains. And I know when I was a kid, if you wanted to do an impression of a zombie, you said brains. I swear you can't find evidence of this, but that looks like a claymation effect put in. You can see an outline around it, like a matte outline. I think that's a claymation liquor. Seriously. Oh, I hear doggies. Where's that music? The bodies disappeared. The bodies disappeared from the laser. You could kind of see they walked by it, but it might possibly be a callback to the games, the way how the limitations on something like the PlayStation, the bodies would then disappear when you come back to an area, because the RAM limitations wouldn't have the bodies stored to remain there unless they were essentially baked into the static background. Thought I heard the dogs there, but maybe that was music. We'll come across some dogs. There we go. The dogs have gotten out. They've chewed their way through, it appears. Oh, this looks like a good place to snoop around. Yeah, whatever was in there, it got out, and you probably don't want to meet it. But hey, that's Alice in Wonderland for you. She's curious and got to proceed. Hey, at least we're kind of building up some suspense here. I think that in the later films, they just throw everything at you. There is no downtime. Oh, what's coming? Zombie doggies. I can't outright remember if they have a transformation about them in Jump. We will do like a bullet time midair kick thing. My understanding of it is that the dogs kept trying to lick this stuff off. Like they probably like poured like a barbecue over them. Milla Jovovich did some extensive training to get some of these kicks in, and she is kind of the action gal. People may think of Charlize Theron or Scarlett Johansson, Angelina Jolie. Milla Jovovich has maybe predated them in some way. Like she was a bit of an action girl in The Fifth Element. Also wanted to show off her nipples there. I think at the time she was with Luc Besson, so yeah, whoever's directing her, she'll have a relationship with. That's a big Doberman, isn't it? Oh, you can see they erased. Yeah, we're digitally removing pieces from the dogs. So I'm a crack shot and I didn't know it. And then when I think some of the dogs CGI were, yeah, it would be cool if the bullet kind of falls like that. Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah. The spent shell there. Oh no, this one's still, and I'm out of ammo. Here we go. This kick. But it's stupid too at the same time, right? Like I think she spent months trying to practice that to be able to get that down. And does it work because of all the shots compiled together? If it was one fluid motion, would it be as cool? Maybe to the average audience, it wouldn't come across as exciting. A lot of times you have to cut things to increase the energy of the scene. And people don't realize that. Sometimes you get these long drawn out fight sequences that are, oh, it'll be so cool if we do it with one take. A wide shot, we'll do it one take. It'll be so cool, look so real. And then you, as the audience, are kind of sitting there going, all right, is this done yet? But, you throw in the rock music stinger there and you're not really taking the music. Well, you're not taking the film too seriously, right? If you're going to set things up like that. So does this guy have his memory? He's looking for something. Lisa. That's not Lisa Trevor, was it? The one they incorporate into Resident Evil 1's remake? Lisa Trevor, that's the name, right? I'm going to look that up. Oh, there's Lisa. Now I just see a Lisa here. Is that your girlfriend? You might want to avoid kissing. I guess she conked her over the head. It was a little wonky. Huh, do I recognize her? So she was trying to sell the virus to you, or am I a double agent? What? Oh, my sister. Okay, sure. And whenever they say that was my sister, that's to set up the I'm supposed to be in a relationship with you. That wasn't my girlfriend. No, it was my sister, so I'm still available. Emotionally. Big time whisper energy right here. You sent your sister to infiltrate the hive? Why, did you not have the degree they were looking for to hire? Illegal research, huh? What, stem cells? Well, if you smuggle out a piece of a zombie, is that not a sample? All right, things are getting loud again. Gosh. So it's James Purefoy. I was thinking Alex for some reason. We need to go in the sewers, guys. How long can you wait? You don't have any food. Besides, we kind of know what happens if you sort of think you can wait out the zombies in one of these games. Missiles come. All right, so the way they got in will seal shut. And that's the only way they got out. So we got to get out within an hour. How did that train work? The train ran horizontally, right? But they did it take them to an elevator that then took them half a mile underground? Because it didn't really seem like they needed to go anywhere on the train, right? Like you just kind of you go into the basement of the mansion and then you take the big elevator down further. I guess I'd have to look at the model again. Maybe they did go down to the train and then have to go across underground, then go down something else. Oh, Red Queen. At least she's got a creepy sounding voice. Though the Red Queen doesn't sound anything like Alice. Despite, I think, supposed to be the same person, more or less. Little girl reading the big words. They don't really seem to eat, right? Like, even in the games, it doesn't seem like people are necessarily eaten. they get down and they get bit, and that's almost the extent of it. But kind of like if they eat somebody wholly, then they wouldn't have more zombies multiplying, right? They kind of need somebody to get bit, run off to their friend base, then attack their friends in order to really spread. The Red Queen is kind of working in the way of the greater good here. You guys probably shouldn't have come down here. Uh-oh, I got bit. Saying even one scratch will do it, huh? Into the sewers we go. Surely the zombies haven't gotten down here. And yeah, in some of the games, they really do start calling them zombies. Are they right behind you? Oh, and they are now that you mentioned it. I wouldn't describe that as mesh. It's a grate. It's metal. Oh, it's a tall one. Yeah, we certainly haven't gotten over the top slick with the fighting just yet, and maybe it's not quite there, right? At some point it goes over the line too, but here we're seeing some really basic looking stuff. You know, I have to wonder if the zombies, they kind of like struggle to walk, right? Can they go upstairs? For the longest time, I never felt zombies could go upstairs, but now I'm really not sure. Oh, bit in the hand again. It's JD. Don't. No. Bit in the neck. Well, she's been bit several times, so definitely going to have ramifications for that. But yeah, you're supposed to not hesitate. Oh, I forgot her name's Rain. Ugh. What is there to do about her wounds? You better hope they don't jump a little. Oh, I'm bit. What's going to happen to me? Well, you said you had 1 hour. You got to get moving. That is a flimsy looking pipe they're going across. Okay, so here we're going to see a jump that Milla wasn't allowed to do, I guess, per insurance, because of these cables being in the way. So we have a stunt double. Yeah, I guess that's it right there. Oh, she's bit and she's losing her vision. He's been bit too many times. What else? You think you rescued him? He's not even a game character. He's dead, right? So that's part of what I like about this, though, is actually, and it's the thing about that is, I think that they fell into accidentally having it work out. It wasn't a decision to not use the game characters for the sake of heightening the stakes and seeming like anybody could die, but they kind of fell into it. I've got 1 round left. Every zombie movie has this guy, the guy who, no, go on without me. I've got 1 round left. Just listen for the bullet. To Alice's credit, she really wanted to save him. And there it is. Nope. Shot the guy. Well, what am I going to do? Hey, there's actually a place for me to crawl out. Oh, are we trying to look like Alien here? You got to put shots in your film that mirror the films that inspired you so that you can be doing that audition reel, right? Hey, look, we have shots that look like Alien. You know, like when Ripley had to climb up and you like kind of lift the grate up, you go up like the ladder and you kind of look around. Yeah, that we did that shot totally naturally. That's what was the plan. Rain's not looking good. Now she's vomiting. You really don't want to kiss her now. Ooh, what's that? Now that I would say is CGI. But I think that there could be claymation liquor at points. You don't have a ton of liquors in the movie so that you, and like I've said, it's diminishing returns with a lot of this. As it goes on, oh, it's just more zombies. No big deal. We've killed them before. You can only do each trick once and really have impact. So you have 1 liquor and it's going to be like the big boss for this film. If you're playing in the game and then you watch this movie, you're probably going to be disappointed. Oh, well, that's a fairly common enemy. You meet it like within 5 minutes of Resident Evil 2. Why is that the final boss? Shouldn't it be an infected Birkin or somebody or a tyrant, right? And then they immediately jump too far with the nemesis in Resident Evil Apocalypse. Just next movie out, let's bring that thing in. And it's like a horrible looking cartoon thing. I mean, obvious guy in a suit sort of situation. Hold on, I'm remembering what this virus looked like. There's a white rabbit. Wow, that music hasn't aged at all, has it? Then again, the ambiance we get in music today is so forgettable. I do like the Tom and Andy score in Resident Evil Afterlife. I'm thinking that's the name of it, Afterlife, and then Retribution. Gosh, I'm going to have to look this up. Resident Evil Afterlife, the 2010. Yeah, that's the one after Avatar. Their score is kind of cool for the film. It feels a little industrial. I was supposed to steal the stuff. No, it was my spousal cover caused this, betrayed or whatever. The amnesia thing is so terrible to use in films. Never a good plot thread to go down. Trying to think of more than one film where it's any good, and Memento's built around it so it works. It's not really amnesia, it's a short-term memory impairment thing. And it sounds so plausible in that film, and here it's just, oh, I forgot. She should have said, I can't even. And then that would be the memorable line for the film, but nope. What? Am I remembering that I'm the bad guy? Oh, rolling in the hay here. I don't know what he thought he was getting away with here. Like, oh wait, if I take the virus and I'll throw a sample over here to ruin it for everybody else's plans, right? But I'm going to get rich or not. And then as the films go on, it seems like the company doesn't even care about making profits, which when you're watching this in real time, it seems really stupid. Like, yeah, well, if you kill everybody, you don't have anybody to market any stuff to, right? But then they're like, no, we can reshape the world by killing everybody that doesn't work for us as one of the executives whose clones are going to repopulate the world. It's convoluted. It doesn't seem like it's worth the gamble, right? And there's impossible biomes where they've worked out all the different scenarios, or all the clones of Alice who are trying to thwart them. It's so silly. I remember I'm the bad guy. Sorry. Just as she was remembering, huh? I think that Mila's hair is going to be wet for the duration of the film at this point. The wet look here. Oh, I thought I was going to do a cool jump kick over this rail and get you, and I'm no Leon. So, what is your job? You act like you live in the mansion? Like, what is that? Oh, yeah, she's going to be needing that antivirus. I think she's the only one here who's been bit. And if you monologue too long with a gun pointed at somebody in a zombie movie, a zombie is going to break up that exchange, right? Yep, there we go. Leap in. Still didn't disarm him. A fair amount of F-bombs, quite a bit of blood. I think, don't they retain the R rating throughout the series? Because in the very least, just the amount of blood from humans. Now, you can get away with a lot of violence in Marvel films because they're killing faceless aliens in swarms, right? She takes the jacket off because he gave it to her. Like, that's really the only reason she did it. Now, the Red Queen kind of helps them out here. Got to stop this guy, right? Okay, we're going to tie off and do some antivirus. I guess that's the green stuff. No, he looks like he's done this before, right? Of course, no amount of antivirus is going to help you from being torn to shreds either, so there's the liquor. Design-wise, it looks fine. Could... Yeah, and that looks a little corny on the screen. They go so over the top with the effects in the later films that they kind of look better here. You can kind of see the motion of that tongue almost suggests stop motion, claymation, but maybe it isn't. So if the liquors eat, they mutate, huh? Giant liquor? You didn't ask about the antivirus. Well, maybe with a few bullet holes in that glass, maybe we can get out here with an axe. Oh, we've got 20 minutes. Now this could be an intriguing scenario. Oh, well, we'll make a trade for the code to get out here. This would work if it was the people as the infection was happening and they had this like turn against each other thing going, but instead it's this other group that comes in after the fact. Off with their head, right? With the axe. That's what we want for the code, says the Queen. Alice in Wonderland. Or is it Alice Through the Looking Glass? Michelle Rodriguez doing the ballsiest thing she can, right? With the offer of the sacrifice here. Nope. Hits the screen that is the computer also, and that worked. That shouldn't, but okay. And this is at a time where the viewer is aware enough of computers to know better. It's not like 1995's Hackers where you get this weird interpretation of what cyberspace might look like, right? Oh, okay, so it didn't work. He fried her with a remote thing. They set up that remote stuff and he crawled away. It's not too terrible. Ugh, some of the looks on that liquor, not so great. Yeah, that's a thin dress. You want me to wear the thin dress? Okay, yeah, I can do that. I guess a big part of her thing is a sex appeal, right? She actually had a guest appearance on Married with Children as one of Kelly Bundy's friends. Cat calls, as soon as she shows up at the door from the audience. 14 years old. Yeah. Okay, so he got feast upon, so now he's an infected, all right. I was under the impression that the liquor ate part of him, but maybe didn't like the way he tasted. 'Cause not a lot's missing. Marines, we are leaving. Don't quite say it like that, right? I don't think anyone says game over, man. Trying to drive home too hard with the aliens. I mean, they did get to... Okay, so she's been infected for a little bit, but they got her the antivirus. Like, she should be in the clear, really. Like, we've set it up enough. I've seen people worse off get antivirus to a zombie and things. No one is going to die except you, and I don't think Kaplan makes it. Matt here, that's his name, right? He sort of goes missing, and then nothing ever really comes of that. Maybe he gets turned into a tyrant or a bioweapon thing. I really couldn't tell you, but they don't bring the actor back. Rain, you okay? You just need your rest. I think the virus sort of has to kill you and then bring you back, right? You don't just seamlessly switch. So did she just die? Or is it a fake out? I gotta have that gun ready just in case. Could you have just said, hey, I need some rest? Like, I mean, it is kind of nice that they had the fake out, but also, how did she snatch the gun from Alice of all people before she can pull the trigger? Now, this is like all the Jedi power, Rey Palpatine sort of thing. Like, that's how much power Alice ends up with through the duration of this series. Well, okay, maybe not so much the mental movement stuff. She can just about do anything she needs to do. Uh-oh, Kaplan, no, we were rooting for you. Usually when a character has a I got away from death scene, they don't then die right? Not in the same movie. Now, Resident Evil 2, you do have a showdown on the train as you're trying to leave the joint, so appropriate setting. We're doing the bullet time thing as it's being overexposed. Yes, the Matrix doesn't quite do it first, but as far as the bullet spinning or seeing the bullet in the air, I guess that traces the blade. The bullet time, as far as the Matrix concern goes, really has to do with setting up multiple cameras and revolving around the talent. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of what everybody else calls bullet time, just CGI bullet, slow motion in this series. I've got the tongue pinned. Uh-oh. Rain looks a little different. I guess the antivirus isn't all it's cracked up to be. And we got like the rock music of the day, the almost nu metal type sound. Because, hey, that's how we make things trendy cool, right? It caught fire. How? It's got an extra flammable membrane around it. Like, what are we doing? Regardless, seems to be a lot more fun than Welcome to Raccoon City, which, oh, well, hey, we got the movie is going to actually have the game characters in it. Several of them. But you're not going to spend enough time with them to give a shit, right? And then we're going to like poorly reenact scenes from the games in such a limp way that you really just become disappointed. This trying to be different is better than giving me a player of the game who needs everything to be verbatim what I've already seen or we riot. Unfortunately, when people talk about the way they want franchises handled, you got to make it for the fans, which means whatever happened in the source material, do the exact same thing and you'll get praised. So then what's the point? You already know you're not telling a new story. You're not doing anything new or special with it. And then you take risks and you're usually going to get arrows. All right, well, okay. You didn't fail them. You didn't develop the crappy antivirus that got Rain killed. Come on now. We got to get these samples out of here. I'm not totally sure, but does he become the nemesis or a tyrant? Like I think there's something that kind of gets put together that way. That thing that was chasing you, that was actually him, you know? But we don't have to bring the actor back so he doesn't get a payday, right? So whatever. I think I don't want to watch Apocalypse to know, but I think that's what happens. There we go. We mentioned the nemesis, and I think that the idea is that he is actually supposed to be the nemesis chasing them in Apocalypse, and so we never save him. Really only getting one survivor here. And she can't fight these guys off? Is it because of the straps on her dress would break? Not that she's going to care, because in a minute we're going to get a full frontal view as she's climbing off a table. Put a thin sheet of paper over the top of her. That'll be sexy. Yeah. Dr. Birkin there, one shot. That is Malfoy's dad. He was in Event Horizon. Man, I forgot the actor's name, but you know who he is. He gets around. Kind of there as sort of a cast callback sort of thing. Here, we're gonna see plenty of her here, high definition. Oh, that looks a little painful. Yep. Burrowed into your head. Yep, I think you gotta look at the pubes there. Yep, you're seeing stuff. Gotta trim that for basic cable, right? Edited for content, no pun intended. A little weird to be put in the paper like this, but she's not really operated on. Oh, somebody's been watching. They've got a lot of cameras in there. Uh-oh. Was the person that's supposed to be watching her, did they go infected? Got a biohazard symbol on the door. Biohazard being the actual name of the game in Japan. Making it quite odd that they didn't stick with biohazard in the West, being that that's a English name. I couldn't tell you if this is any way to get around a keypad lock, but okay. Nuclear medicine. I mean, this may or may not be some hospital. Maybe her room was a little bit unique. Oh, it says Raccoon City Hospital. That is an umbrella logo. I guess they own the hospital. What is going on here? Somebody crashed their Jeep Wagoneer, and the dead walk. Yeah, we had time to print that paper out and deliver it with that shot of people running down Main Street as infected zombies. Yeah, that totally happened. Grab that shotgun, and yeah, we're making a stand, getting ready for the next movie. A good amount of carnage right there to end the film with. You know, you can see. And that's practical, too. That's a good shot. Now, some of that might, yeah, obviously we're getting to the point where we pull back far enough. It's sweetened a bit. Paul W.S. Anderson written and directed. Boy. You know, maybe this movie, I don't hate it as much as I remember disliking. Just kind of the vibe, the tone threw me off. It just didn't feel like the games, but in retrospect, it's not nearly as bad as the series gets, obviously, and you could do a lot worse. I want to know what you guys think about Resident Evil from 2002. Let me know in the comments below. Till next time, adios.